There's Inez.
It just takes a moment for the YouTube to pull up, so.
Mhm.
It just takes a moment for my background. Perfect. There we go. Okay, so we are live on YouTube. Yep,
And
okay.
Branda's going to be late.
Yeah, I know that. I remember
Mhm.
that from before. And then let me go ahead and get rid of this and this. And let me share the agenda so we can all see that. No, you're not seeing the agenda. Give me 1 second. Okay. You all see the agenda, right? Just nod your head or put a thumbs up.
Yeah, we can, but you've got it where we can see all the non-viewing, um, the non-printing characters.
What do you mean non-printing characters? I'm confused.
Oh, the things like paragraph and
Oh,
tab
you want
tab
me to turn all that
notations.
off? I'll turn that off. Give me a second here. There we go. We're good.
Yeah, that's better.
We'll make it a little bigger too here. Okay. So good afternoon and welcome to our first meeting of the end of the spring semester as we're already in week 6. So as you know, from my emails and Catherine's, we didn't have much on the agenda. We still don't have much on the agenda as, again, documents are being reviewed. As you all know, we've been pulled in different directions with budgets and, again, just things with the restructure that's happening right now as well. So that's where, again, things have been. But with that being said, I'll go into things. It shouldn't be a long meeting today because we don't have much, again, to, again, discuss. Just some, again, more like some housekeeping rules on some stuff. So, with that being said, those are my general announcements. We already approved our last again meeting. We met in November, again, November 20. Um, with that being said, give me 1 second. My default has changed. Give me a second. I want to move for some reason I cannot get to there we go. Okay. Yesterday, so executive committee, we met, we discussed some different things. Sarah Mead joined us from the registrar's office. Um, For some reason, my camera decided to go out. That's nice. Give me 1 second here. Let's see here. Ah, gotta love when technology wants to work. So give me a second here. Let me stop the share. I love how that just happened all of a sudden. Give me a second. I apologize. You guys can all hear me, right?
Hmm.
Perfect. But just my
Yeah.
camera decided to go out. So yeah, that's nice. Let me give me a moment here. And then I stop sharing. Okay. Okay. Now you can see me, right? And hear me? Okay. So
Mhm.
let's just go ahead and let's see if I can share my screen again. I'm gonna go ahead and make this bigger here and then I'll do the sharing. Okay. That being said, um, sorry about the technical difficulty. So again, we met Sarah Mead joined our executive committee group yesterday. We talked about this course numbering rubric, and we're going to kind of talk about that. We'll have that actually later in the, again, agenda. We'll kind of take a look at the course learning outcomes and then making sure that this can be published in the CAD or sorry, that we can again be able to vote on this and have a discussion first and then be able to vote. Just again, another thing to keep in mind, course learning outcomes now required to be published in the catalog as well as program student learning outcomes. So proposal originators will need to make sure to include those. This council has no purview, like we talked about before with learning and student learning outcomes. We are just more endorsing it. And that's again, whoever the proposal originator is, they're going to be the ones required to put that out there, put that on the proposal again, to make sure it could be moved forward and approved. Um, with that being said, again, we are now moving forward. We have some additional ID or additional reps that are going to move off. So I will again be departing us. Oh, I see your hand, Jessica. Go ahead.
This is just a comment about the course learning outcomes.
Yeah.
I know that we do not communicate directly with NWCCU, and I recognize that this is a requirement coming from NWCCU, but to the degree that it is possible for us or ISU to push back on this requirement as very much not student-centered, I think it would be a valuable pursuit. Um, the students do not want this in the catalog. I do not know if they actually consulted with students about this, and I recognize that they want students to know these outcomes, and that's why they want us to put it in the catalog. The students do not want this information in the catalog. They want to know, what is the content of the course? How often is it being offered? I don't understand, and I feel like it's sort of exploiting and or taking advantage of, or the fact that we don't have a printed catalog anymore, and so they can blow up the catalog from the huge catalog it is now to 7,000 pages. But I do not understand this requirement, and I think it is not student-centered genuinely. But there are other issues in communicating with my department chairs, that the outcomes that seem to have been sent to Ivory are from the assessment office, and those outcomes may or may not be the same as the ones that are posted on ISU's like student learning outcomes, course outcomes website. And it's really not clear whether or not Ivory has the right documents. And, I have just told all the chairs, like, send your outcomes to Ivory. But I think that some wider publicity would be valuable to the degree. I mean, I don't think that this is a useful exercise in terms of helping students, but to the degree that it's mandated and going to be in the course catalog, I think that, it's important that maybe there's some more communication than just coming from us about needing to talk directly with, send what you have directly to Ivory.
This is,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
this is
Go
something
ahead.
Ivory knows that she doesn't have necessarily the most up to date, but she's got to get something in there. That's why she's saying, yeah, please send anything to her. The people that would be able to push back against this to NWCCU would be academic affairs, I would think, the very higher levels. Ivory and I are just trying to figure out how, because we have to be able to capture this, and at least the program learning outcomes I do need to have when I submit things to NWCCU. All our whatever changes or updates that we have to send, they often require those learning outcomes. And it's much easier for me to just copy and paste it from the UCC proposal, rather than trying to find it either on a box drive or on a website or whatever. I don't know where else to get it. So that's one of the reasons why it's okay if we capture it in the UCC proposal, then we know that we can, it's a standard place where we can go find it, and that anybody can go find it. Whereas there's no standardized place that I'm aware of here in ISU where these things are kept that are easily accessible that I can go and copy and paste. So, and Ivory's running into the same thing. So if the assessment office has learning outcomes that are different than what the department has, that's a problem.
I think that's crucial. I think it's relevant to put the program outcomes in the catalog. I just think that this will the course learning outcomes will blow up the catalog. And
Yeah, it's annoying.
to the degree that we may have any appetite for expressing an opinion as a group, it could be valuable if we thought it was useful to express as a group to academic affairs that there is some potentially, I don't know the will of the group, but some discontent about this move. to put course learning outcomes in the catalog. Not that we can resist it, but they could potentially take that to NWCCU. So, I don't know if that's a question for another time, but it's just a thought.
With that being said, does anybody else, so Jessica, you feel that way with the idea of again blowing it up and things like that? Are you wanting this council to again entertain that where where others again do others feel that way from other colleges as well? If that's what you want me to ask, I have no problem asking that.
Yes, that would be great
Yeah.
if you could ask that, but I recognize that this may not be the time or the place to have this conversation. So I
Got it.
also,
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, let's put that on there. I don't know if we're gonna have it today, but I will put it up there, and if anything, we can maybe carry on a conversation with it the next time we meet. And again, executive committee can again look to talk about it and putting it on the agenda for next time as well, just like we're having a conversation about the rubric and that. Does that work? Yeah, perfect. Okay. With that being said, and thank you for bringing it to us. Again, that's the purpose of our council too. Again, if we have general things like this and just looking at it again for us to talk amongst us being the reps from the different, again, colleges as well. With that being said, again, additional reps, again, we will look to, wait, someone's saying something. Sorry, I don't want to miss it. No? I'm hearing things. Okay. Um, with that being said, again, there's going to be reps falling off. So Jessica, Sherry, myself, and Camille. So we all fall off this year. I will not be from again College of Tech. I will not be eligible. Nor again, it's my time to have a break from UCC, but I won't be eligible for it in that. So we'll have a rep, and then others of that. Again, so again, between College of Arts and Letters and what it is, what it was, and again moving into the chess and that would be your area, Jessica. Again, it doesn't hurt to start mentioning this. And then what Cozy, which it's not anymore, again, moving in that round that again, those individuals will need to again come on this committee, and same with College of Health when again looking at the restructure with pharmacy as well. Those again positions we will again look at to fill. Ines is gone. She'll be doing a sabbatical next year and returning in fall. And then so with that opening up, myself, our officers only go for one academic year. So myself, Ben, and Randa, we are done. Again, and now again, if you're thinking about wanting to be an officer and you're thinking about wanting to do that, feel free to reach out to any of us in executive committee, myself, Randa, or Ben, and those individuals, Eric, Ajit, Ben, Randa, Ryan, Courtney, and Aaron, you're all again eligible if you want to again serve in that again capacity being an officer. We will look to do elections again sometime in March. It might be pushed to our last meeting just with the restructuring process right now too. So we're all kind of in that uncertainty aspect with that, especially with the people not like College of Tech, but again with Cozy, with Cal, again, and those changes that are occurring. Questions on that, and does that make sense?
I just have one thing to add. If any of you know that you're not going to be on next year, let me know so that I can add your seat to the ones that will need to be filled. So if you aren't listed here as not being here, let me know. Excuse me.
Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, do you want to just talk about what that entails?
Yeah, so if you're looking to be an officer, whether it's again, looked by chair, so I'll just kind of go down the roll. So starting with chair, so you're running the meeting. And then your responsibility of communicating with academic affairs, registrar's office, and that. And then also besides that, again, we have an extra. So if you're an officer, you are required to attend the extra again meeting during the week, which is the executive committee. As you know, again, then you're just kind of opening yourself up there for help with individuals, again, wanting stuff with proposals and kind of being that guiding light, like between this council and then the registrar's office and that. The chair is the one that again has the brunts of it. The chair at this point in time has either a course release or a supplemental contract. However, the supplemental contract still being questioned at this point, again, with next year's of that. But again, it's either supplemental contract or course release if you're looking for chair. For vice chair, It's again being able to assume those responsibilities of chair if that individual, like meaning like again, cannot run those meetings. And then you're part of executive committee as well, and same with executive secretary. Besides that, and then any other duties that see fit, again, will restructuring affect us if we want to nominate someone from College of Health current, but moving to farm, should we still nominate? At this point in time, I would still suggest it, yes, because we don't know how the restructure will look. So just to make sure that we can have again, things in play. So basically, and with all of that being said, to kind of round it up, the chair has the responsibility of running the meeting, putting that agenda together, and it kind of works with the executive committee to make sure that information is dispersed on a weekly, again, basis. Does that make sense a little bit more?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, cool. Anybody else have questions about that? And if you have other questions offline, if you want to reach out to any of us, we are more than willing to help. I will say out of all these, I always feel maybe because I am the chair, but again, the chair's got the most responsibility of just with running the meeting and setting the agenda and kind of making sure everything aligns. Then the other two kind of fall into place with that. Okay. And again, those are all yearly terms. With that being said, I don't think Cindy was in attendance for today. Do you, Catherine, anybody out, or Catherine, did you have anything from academic affairs? I don't think she was going to be here today because of the restructuring meeting.
Yeah, she'll be in those meetings.
Yeah.
No, I don't have anything from academic affairs, other than, well, I guess the one thing is that, as the colleges are working on their 3-year plans, please make sure they get all of anything that they want to do, including certificates, or, the state board changed their policy, and now require anything that's not on the 3-year plan. We have to submit a letter of notification, asking permission to update the plan, and along with a copy of the revised plan. And I think that has to go to the full state board for them to say, yes, it's okay to do that. So we can't have any more last minute changes of, oh yeah, we want to add this new, I don't know, master's to, or bachelor's to this program, in fall, or we want to create a new certificate. So far, the small certificates, like 9 to 12 credits or something, those haven't, they're letting us not have to write that extra letter of notification, but that could be changing. So we won't be allowed to have any more last minute additions, or changes that, yeah, we want to add this new degree or program or certificate that's not on the 3-year plan. It's going to be a lot more work and take longer. So please make sure your departments include everything that they are even thinking about doing in the coming year on their 3-year plan. And also any discontinuances should be included on that too. So, and I know the colleges are working on their edits right now, and their changes to it. I think those are due in March to academic affairs. So
Hey,
that's a little
Catherine.
bit.
Catherine,
Mhm.
this is Ryan. I talked to Debbie the other day, and she said she hasn't received the form from academic affairs because I have like 3 or 4 specialized certificates and potentially one other new degree. But Debbie has said she hasn't received anything from academic affairs.
Okay.
So
I have
yeah,
that prepared, and I have them all in a folder, all the college things, and I did that last fall. But I rely upon my compatriots within academic affairs to supply those to the deans and the associate deans. So
yeah, I
yes,
just want to let you know because I know
Yeah,
historically about by the second week of February it's released, and I know that just historically.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Where's it at?" I haven't heard the call for it, so I called Debbie. She's like, "I haven't heard anything."
Okay. would you help me remember by sending me an email and copying Debbie, and then I'll send you the link to that, to your, um, to your
folder.
3-year plan.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It sounds good. I actually was in the process of just messaging you as well, but I'll
Oh,
just and I don't
okay,
want to
yeah,
backtrack. I don't want to backtrack or hijack anything because I know we're trying to get stuff done. Back to that question, I don't have a issue with like program educational objectives or student learning outcomes being published in the catalog because that's like an ABET requirement for us. I agree that course level outcomes be problematic, but in my catalog, you said that Ivory's adding those already because I have catalog editing, like I'm reviewing the curriculum changes from this last cycle for our department, and I don't see any course level outcomes. Are they putting them in an appendix at the end of the catalog, or what's that, what does that look like?
Maren, do you know the answer to that?
I am not positive, but I think they're going with the course descriptions. I don't know if those are attached to like individually to the degree plan pages and that, but they should be included with the course descriptions at the back.
Yeah, so I would agree if they're going to be listed there. I mean, I don't think it's an issue if they're a drop down menu or something, but again, I think it'll be very unstudent, like it'll be very unfriendly to students that are looking for information in that regard. I think, an appendices would not be an issue, but yeah, I just don't see it in my edits. Like I'm looking at all the prefix courses that I'm responsible for, and I don't see any course level outcomes. So I think that we do need to have a discussion on that. So
I can bring that up with Ivory.
Yeah, so I would like to have a discussion if that's something as well that we need to have a discussion more detail with Cindy. I think we can have that as well. That's all I had. Thanks.
Leslie, you're muted.
Thank you, whoever said I was muted. So thank you. I didn't see that. I apologize. I was going to ask, do we have anything from the subcommittee updates from that, again, the only subcommittee, which was the catalog format, which again kind of goes in this idea of what we're talking about with student learning outcomes. But did you meet with Ivory? I know, Ben, you had been back and forth with that and like kind of
Not with all the craziness and trying to, we'll get there.
Yes. Okay. And that would be something again I would say to bring up was again what we're talking about. We could talk about an executive committee too, and put that again as something to look forward to, with the idea of again discussing it. I do know from what we talked about briefly yesterday with it, and again, not opposed to opening a discussion that it was an NWCCU requirement and it's gonna have to be on there. The way it looks though, we can hopefully have some again input with. So again, especially again going to the points of making it student centered and such. That's all my information we already talked about with that stuff. And that was basically again what we went over in executive committee. Randa, I don't think I saw her jump on yet. I know she had a brief update from Faculty Senate, but she is not here yet, Catherine.
I am here.
Yes.
We just talked about all of the changes and updates, and we're all still trying to breathe and absorb.
Okay, perfect. I think all of us are at that point.
Leslie, do you
Yes.
need to do the acceptance for the BAS committee minutes?
Yes, I do. I'm going to go back to that because I wanted to get through. I had a couple of things I wanted to get through before accepting those. So thank you. But thank you, Tiff. With that being perfect. Thank you, Eric. With that being said, Girk, do you have anything? And then besides, again, with the change with the proposal, I will, Ben, if you had anything.
No, so far this academic year, GERC's approved 3 courses. Spanish 222, Phil 2, Philosophy 2215, and the LIB 1125. So those are the only 3 that have been approved so far this year.
Which were they again? Spanish,
Spanish 2222,
okay,
Philosophy 2215, and
Okay.
LLIB 1125.
Ben, they
Thank
didn't
you.
say anything about math? Because
Oh, they did that one earlier. That was
Oh,
last
sorry.
semester.
Oh, they
I
put it
missed
in the
that.
wrong column. So math 2254 was approved back in December. Sorry.
oh, give me a heart
They
attack.
moved it
Thank
into
you,
a different
Ben.
column.
And then just one quick update with the one that you can see on here. So political science at 2213, they withdrew that proposal, making 2213 is going to be the gen ed course, which again was adjusted accordingly. That's what they approved with, again, proposal 50. So again, they withdrew the one part of that existing proposal, and that was with the change that was on there. Any questions on that before I look to backtrack? I wanted to backtrack and look to accept the minutes after. Okay. That being said, we had 2 sets of past minutes to accept. But before that, Tiffany, do you have anything from Bass that you want to talk about before us accepting those?
No, we just met to approve those degree plans.
Perfect. That being said, can I get a motion to accept November 21st and January 30th, January 30th minutes for UCC?
So moved.
That's Ben. Can I get a second?
Second.
That's Randa. All in favor, just raise a hand or an eye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? So moved. We've accepted both of those minutes. With that being said, there is nothing going back on the agenda, nothing again for information this week. Again, we haven't met. Again, we've approved again our UCC, our UCC has the consent calendar that we move stuff in from executive committee. We don't have any proposals. With that being said, we will talk about that new business, which is the GERC again education page. But before that, we are still in the this kind of goes in with our proposal. Catherine is still working on the form and looking to update that. We have nothing at this point again for that form, and I know the catalog is still being updated as well. So if you're looking to again submit UCC proposals, those are on hold at the moment because again we're still working on the form. The form will be presented first either via email or again after executive committee looks at it, and then again up for discussion here if we have any questions of that, and then we'll accept it. Okay, does anybody have any questions on that? Oh. Okay, with that being said, I want to open up the course rubric. So I do have it up here so we can talk about it. I'm going to pull it up here. Just give me a moment here. I just got to pull it up. I think it was a Word document, which made it, here we go. It's a Google form, but it just made it a little weird for me to share it. And I think now, okay, are you all seeing the rubric? Yep, perfect. Okay, so there we have there. So I just want to kind of, before I open it up for discussion, because again, we'll look to accept it today. Just a couple things that we talked about in executive committee and, you know, what the purpose of this is. So, and this is kind of what the registrar's office said. And then Maren, I'll point to you with anything I missed, or if I did miss anything, again, feel free to jump in. But basically we talked about it again, you know, this is used by the registrar's office and it's big, like when they're looking at impacts, when they're basically looking to sign off from the registrar's office, they're making sure that all this is met. So that's kind of like the historic piece with this. Why is again, it's basically a standardized tool that again is used for that evaluation purpose. And then really to talk about if a course again is looking like if we're talking about this idea of a course being able to transfer in, as long as 80% of the educational outcomes are there, and again, there it's less than that 20% or less than that, again, 33% variance, we look to have that transferred in. And, you know, it's basically to make sure that we have the student's perspective and best interest, again, especially to avoid like partitions or having to like repeat different courses within the program. That's why it's there. Understand too, like what we talked about in executive committee yesterday, this is always up for interpretation. Just because we vote to approve today, does it, or again, to, or vote to accept more likely this rubric, doesn't mean that it can't be again revisited again or revisited every academic year. And you're more than welcome to reach out to us as part of executive committee to bring it up with academic affairs, or feel free to reach out directly. That is again the purpose of that, and again we can look to make changes on this. Ivory commented on again the idea about that again variance and that credit hour thing there, and that kind of leads into that discussion. Before I look to lead into the discussion, Maren, do you want to put anything else that I maybe missed? Which I think I had a majority of it here on my little post-its of reminders.
Yeah, I think you got most of it. I just wanted to reiterate that this is our current process. This isn't a change of how we're viewing these courses as they come in necessarily. So we just wanted to give you a look into what we see when we're looking at your courses and evaluating whether or not they might need a new course number if the content has shifted significantly. So.
Yeah. Thank you, Maren. With that being said, I'll open this up for discussion, like kind of like what was talked about via email on that. And if anybody wants to, again, open or take the floor with that.
Wesley, I kind of have a question with this. I recognize that pharmacy is a little bit of a niche carve out with this. It's not necessarily undergraduate, but I'm wondering how this applies to our program as we are currently doing curriculum renewal and changing some of our courses.
Go ahead, Mary.
Yeah, so pharmacy is kind of its own special thing. You have special numbers, in fact.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
a lot of these still would apply. So if you're changing content, especially specifically to a significant amount, we want a new course number, things like that. I know you guys you do have special rules, so you might have to reach out a little more specifically with your questions, but.
Okay, sounds good. I know some of the, like our experiential stuff, we're redoing some of the credit hours are changing, and I'll reach out when we get to that point. I might be submitting a proposal here regarding that, and so I'll reach out with further clarification.
Perfect. Thanks, Aaron. Anybody else?
This is Ryan. So I think, Maren, I've done a lot of curriculum proposals over the years, so I'm aware that like you guys are we're taking kind of the unspoken guidelines and now putting them in writing. But with that, I think that there's still, and I sent an email about this, I think, out that there's some ambiguity between major changes, and then if you say content focused shifts, like when we do that sort of stuff. So in the College of Technology, we often see new equipment, new technologies, new things evolving. And if we have a networking class and we move from, the technology that's been being used to tomorrow's technology, that is a shift in focus to some extent of but when we take it and put it in writing, I think that can kind of be problematic. So I think we need to be careful of what we're saying when we put it into writing. I think, the intent needs to be really clear. So I just think that there's a little bit of, it's ambiguous, and some of those things are subjective for interpretation. Then the other thing is like some of the courses, we have courses that range from 1, 2, 3 credits all the way up to 8 credits. So I think I suggested in an email to Ivory the wordsmithing for the change of credits, because it says 33%. I think it should, again, because if I have a 2-credit class and I add 1 credit, that would mean that I would need a new course number. Well, that doesn't seem really reasonable. So I think something, it has an example on the side, but some of our courses are less than 3 credits. So if I take a 1 credit class and want to make it 2, or take a 2 credit class and make it 1, that would require me to do a new course number.
Yeah. So partially there is some ambiguity that is intentional in this. We're not trying to make hard and fast rules that keep you as the departments and the faculty from making determinations about your course and whether that content has shifted significantly. So there is some intentional ambiguity there where, like, when we transfer in a course, we're looking for roughly an 80% match in content before we transfer it in. And that includes the credits should match roughly, the content should match about 80%. And so to some degree, we want to give a little bit of freedom for you guys to make those shifts that your industries and academic spheres make throughout the years and not have to change course numbers necessarily. So we have some of that intentionally there for you to be able to make those shifts. So we're mostly looking for about an 80% match. So if your course is mostly the same, we don't want to make you make a new course number for that. And there can be exceptions to this. It's not a hard and fast rule. You just might have to reach out and explain those.
It's basically putting, like, again, approving and accepting it more of just, again, it's gonna be like an acknowledgement, no different than how we like endorse against state proposals. That's again what the registrar's office is looking for here and in or with academic affairs. And this process is already being done. This is what they do when they're looking at impacts, when they're looking at signing off that SFS, again, registrar, like they again have that or have that signature with that when they're looking at proposals. That's already occurring, and this is just kind of putting it in writing, just kind of again wanting to have again basically so we can kind of see their behind the scenes in a little bit. So we know basically what the registrar's office is doing.
This is a guideline for you, not really a hard and fast way
Correct,
that we're
thank you.
saying we're going to not let you, we're going to let you. So it's just intended as a guideline to help you understand why we're asking for a new course, or to just say on your own, oh, I'm going to need a new course. This is a significant change. I would determine to be a significant change even.
Does that help, Ryan?
Sorry, my mouse wasn't working.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think that works. I mean, again, I there's always a I think that when we call for an official vote, I think that makes this different, right? Like if it's a guideline and hey, we're going to publish this and you're bringing this to the committee to review as a guideline, I'm fine with it. I actually like, I've done a lot of proposals over the years. And so when I saw this, I thought, oh, this is a great, and it says right at the top, it's a guide. But when we have to vote on it, like if we're voting on it, that brings it kind of, to me, it solidifies it as more of a rule or a policy or procedure. And so do I think
The
it's,
way I'm gonna look to vote with this, no, I don't want to cut you off. You keep going.
no,
I
you're
have
good.
basically what I want to, again, we're looking to endorse this. We're not looking to, and please hear me, and I can speak for executive committee. This is not like the end all for this stuff because like Maren said, and like what you were even going back in dialogue, what Jessica had said, like there's gonna be those what if scenarios. We are, and no one from the registrar's office or academic affairs is trying to make it more difficult. We're trying to basically, this is again a guide and put in writing so you see what the registrar's office is doing, and it's to help the department make that determination if something needs to be changed or not. That's what this is there to. Is it already occurring? Yes. So again, what we're endorsing basically, hey, this is what again the registrar's office is doing, and it's not verbatim in stone. That also brought me up to my thing of this is something that executive committee wanted to take up, or again, even the registrar's office wanted to for us to point out our the new executive committee and or bring up to committee next year. It can definitely be brought up because it's not set in stone. It's a guide. It's changing with everything that's changing right now. And I want to put you like everyone at ease with that. Does that put you at a better ease?
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
voting to say, yeah, we've seen it, and consent to it, I think it just,
We endorse it. Yeah.
when I yeah, and endorse it. When I read the email, it didn't feel like it felt more like official. So I'm
Official.
good.
No, that's okay. Sometimes an email can be misconstrued. And again, it was something from the registrar's office. They wanted us to start that off. And again, that's why we again opened it up for discussion here. And then we talked about it too, just wanting to bring it to council. We don't want to just say, hey, yeah, this is here without anything. It's no different than a student learning outcome thing to revisit as well, which we'll revisit at another meeting. Anything else, again, as we move like this is being up for discussion? Anybody else have anything before we look to take that vote? Jessica, go ahead. I see your hand.
I want to just second what Ryan said about appreciating the transparency that this is aiming at. I think for me, based on my experience with English and philosophy in particular, but also with some other departments in my college, the first two categories do sound more blanket than I have experienced them to be. So, and I recognize so I can think of a bunch of exceptions to this rule, to this guideline in my particular department. So it seems to me like there's a lot of exceptions. Whereas I recognize that for English and philosophy, let's say, in the grand scheme of things, we are maybe a minor, like we are those exceptions, like compared to the total number of course changes going in. But like in that first category about changes in course content, we changed a course in the Bible as lit to a course in religion and literature. And so that is a significant change in content. But we kept the same number because it would end up fulfilling the same position in our major that the Bible as literature could have filled. And so in that sense, like if somebody came along and had an old Bible as literature class that they needed to count toward a new, this year's curriculum, we would have been fine with that. Another example is this year's Asian philosophy class from philosophy, which they divided into East Asian and South Asian. So that's it used to be sort of a little bit of both, or it would alternate one or the other. And now they have two separate classes. So that's kind of like 50% of the course content. In the second category, an example is that we used to have a senior seminar in professional writing, but for a variety of reasons, we changed it from a 3-credit seminar in professional writing to a 0-credit senior portfolio, which we basically use for assessment purposes. And so that was a change in 3 credits. And I recognize that, again, it's probably minor in the context of ISU, but it seems like I can think of a lot of different examples off the top of my head that are exceptions to these rules. And so it just seems like it would be if there are as many exceptions being made as I perceive from my vantage point, it would be useful to have some more fudge language in there, or generally, or mostly, or if it's serving a different. I mean, I don't know what the language should be because I'm not seeing this from your perspective, but it just seems like, off the top of my head, I could rattle off like 5 or 6 more examples. And so, I perceive there are more exceptions to this than there are. And so that makes me think that the guidelines are actually codifying something that is not practice.
Can I echo that quick? Because we are gonna have some substantial curriculum changes in the bachelor's again. And for example, we're splitting a practicum and we're splitting a seminar into like fall and spring instead of just spring. And I just realized, that like to have a new course number for all of these courses, it might be complicated. So I kind of like Jessica, I can think of a lot of ways where it would be easier if we didn't have to have a new course number, or yeah, I mean, then it just could get a little complicated. So I just want to echo that.
Yeah. And we understand that like there are going to be exceptions. There is some ambiguity changing from Bible and religious studies. Like you can definitely have more content mismatch than you probably would like for the 80% match. The whole point of a new course number is in part to help with our student information system. We're trying to keep track of how many times people are repeating courses. We're trying to keep track of whether or not they can transfer this course somewhere else to another program, whether this course is the same and they can't get credit again, or they should be able to get credit again because it is not the same course anymore. So regardless of whether we're perfectly applying this right now, this is the guideline of what we should be applying. So in general, this is the guideline that we would like to be used for doing course numbers. We would like students to be able to get all the benefits of a new course if it truly is a new course, and they can count it towards their major, 120 credits. And if they can't, we want to make sure that that is specifically, there's a reason for that, that we're not allowing them to get credit for that course, even though it's a significantly different course. So this is overall what we would like to happen, but we understand that this is not perfect. We cannot perfectly enforce these always.
Thank you, Maren. Well said. Anybody else open for discussion? I think we've hit the points that you all wanted to hit, but does anybody else have anything? I'm not seeing anything. Okay. That being said, I'm gonna go back to the agenda here. With that being said, can I get a motion to endorse this, again, course numbering rubric as a guideline and as something that's again up for change based on just different scenarios and things. Again, with the language that is there, again, it's a guide. It's not saying this is set in stone and it's the way we're gonna do it. Again, Jessica, Ryan, we've all again expressed some differences in regards to again what to look at for courses.
So moved.
That's Randa. Can I get a second?
Second.
Ben, all in favor, either aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Jessica, I see you opposed. Anybody else? Any abstention? Okay, so moved. Again, we did endorse this with one nay, but again, it is going to be endorsed and again look to move forward with again the possibilities of changes and such. With that. With that being said, last thing again, take up again new business here, and this is just more about again proposal 72. It's an update to the general education again with all new gen ed courses and again changed by UCC and GERC during the 26-27 catalog. This is again for GERC though specifically. And Catherine, I did say I was going to point to you with this one because you said you had some stuff with this. I want to make sure I'm sharing it though. Yes, go ahead.
Everything's up to date on it. I went through and verified that yes, GERC had approved those courses that are listed in there. So it's up to date. I didn't fill in and it hasn't gone out for impacts or anything, partly because, well, time and everybody's all busy. And I just found out that GERC had approved these things. But again, this is just updating the gen ed portion of the catalog with all the courses and changes that have already been approved on all those other proposals. So if you really want me to collect impacts and signatures and everything, we can do that. It's just that seems like extra work for no particular reason. This is just documenting the changes for the gen ed page.
So it's documenting those, but the GERC has already approved it from what we talked about yesterday.
Yeah, UCC approved the courses pending GERK's approval of each of those gen ed courses. GERK has now approved all those gen ed courses. So this is the proposal to update the gen ed page with those changes, because the catalog proposals and the GERK proposals would approve them for the programs and the course descriptions, but those proposals don't update the gen ed page. That's what this proposal does.
So, but then we're not actually approving this proposal.
Yes, it's an actual proposal. Yes, it's
Okay,
a
so
real
we are
proposal.
going through it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
you are going through it, and it's just that interest of time, you guys wanted to get this on the agenda, so I haven't filled out the top tables with, all that stuff and that I usually do, just because there's been too many other things going on.
Okay.
But yeah, this proposal, it's, if you scroll down, just scroll down and it didn't go out for impacts, but each of the individual proposals did, and everybody had signed off on them.
Okay.
So I haven't followed all the procedures, but
So basically, it's all just stuff that's right here.
yeah, it's all that stuff right there. If you just keep scrolling down, you'll see that, okay, they've
They added again this, the
yeah,
2254,
there's the math.
the geology.
There's
Yeah.
that's the civil engineering changing to geology course.
Yeah.
And as you can see on the in the right hand margins, I've
The proposals. Yep.
yeah, which proposal it was approved on.
Because it was only, there's this one from the library.
Right. Mm-hmm. And we've got the philosophy class, and they changed the East Asian philosophies and then added the South Asian philosophies.
Okay.
And then we've got Spanish 2222 that was approved in there too.
And that was it.
Yep.
Okay.
So again, I haven't done all the impacts.
So motion to, you want to look for a motion then to approve pending all that, the impacts? Or it's
No,
already been approved though,
because
correct?
the impacts are all on the other proposals.
Yeah.
I want you guys just to approve this proposal as is.
Okay.
So we can get it in the catalog and get it done.
Okay. With that being said, motion to approve 72.
Move to approve.
That's again, I see Camille again, or I saw again Ben with the first, Camille second. All in favor, either aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? So moved. 72 is approved unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That being said, we don't have any other new business. That's just about that subcommittee, which again, one thing to probably put in there is going to be again about the student learning outcome piece in that. And that'll be something again, Ben, to take up, and we could talk about it at our next executive committee meeting. I don't see us, but I'm not gonna speak too soon. I don't see us meeting next week, because again, the proposal form will be worked on, but it still has to come to us first. So there again probably will be a lax week, but then again we could most likely again look to start meeting in March again once again we get proposals again coming through. That's pending all the different budget stuff and all of that that's impacting everything as well. Okay. With that being said, anything else for the good of the order before I get to the best part, which is adjourning an executive committee? I'm going to ask that you stay on for a moment. But anything else for the good of the order? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Ben. You guys take care, stay warm, and we will be in touch.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
bye-bye.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
I missed it. What did you say about the new committee? Like, did you even talk about, because I was late. Like, we need to
Hold on one
have
second.
a
I'm
new order.
recording. I'm recording. So
Oh.
hold on a second. Give me 1 second, Randa.